Reaper on the chain, Reaper on the chain, Reaper on the chain, Reaper on the chain, Reaper on
the chain. I'm gon' make it, I'm gon' make it. I put that on my mama. I can't take it, I can't take it. No, I can't deal with all this drama. Why they hating, why they hating? I guess we counting up these numbers. I'm in my own lane, headed to another summer. I'm in my own lane, headed to another.
I can't wait till mama I made it. Every day is something different. All this drama, I can't take it, but it can't stop me. No, I won't stop me. Niggas wanna beat me, so they copy. If I was you haters, I hate me too. You broke, you mad, boy, I'm glad I ain't you. I done been up, I done been down. I done had bands, I done been broke. While I just got back and he still selling coke. Now back to the plan, there's never going broke. Need a new watch, don't got time for you haters. Boy, why you mad? I'm just trying to do numbers. If the money called, then you know I'm coming. Where I'm from, niggas dying every day. Man, this shit so crazy. They out here killing babies. I get to the money daily. I'm screaming out, fuck you, baby. And I won't stop until I get mine. Fuck up next, it's my time.
I'm gon' make it, I'm gon' make it. I put that on my mama. I can't take it, I can't take it. No, I can't deal with all this drama. Why they hating, why they hating? I guess we counting up these numbers. I'm in my own lane, headed to another summer. I'm in my own lane, headed to another summer. I'm in my own lane, headed to another summer.
Yeah, thank everybody for showing up. We're gonna go live in a minute, man, to talk about this Halo shit, this Infinite shit. I got some information from an anonymous jail. We're gonna see. I'm not saying it's true or not. Whether you believe it or not is up to you. We're gonna see what's poppin', man, because there's no co-op and there's no forged motives all over the web and stuff, and people giving their opinion about it. But this anonymous jail put up a Reddit, and it got deleted, but it was copied to reset errors.
I'm gon' make it, I'm gon' make it. I put that on my mama. I can't take it, I can't take it. No, I can't deal with all this drama. Why they hating, why they hating? I guess we counting up these numbers. I'm in my own lane, headed to another summer.
Shut this tune down.
I'm in my own lane, headed to another summer.
We're gonna talk about this.
I'm in my own lane, headed to another summer.
Told moms we gon' make it out. Check that bag, invest the cash. Take the fam and move the house. Look where we come from and where we at. Grab them guns, secure that route. Shoot first, pray to God later. Try to save the world, play safe, but they gon' still turn and try to take you out. Lord knows my situations and all of the things that I've been through. Still chose me, no matter the evil that's lurking, He will not let them get through. And I never forget where I came from, but I be damned if I let a brother take from me. When we both raised under the same sun, breathe the same, pump the same blood. I came from the bottom, raised up with none, and now I got a few dollars, but I got more problems. I ain't even seen the meal, and I ain't even got the deal yet. It ain't all about me, I got mouths to feed, homie, I got children. They ain't talking colors, I ain't even tryna holler, middle finger to the drum.
I'm gon' make it, I'm gon' make it. I put that on my mama. I can't take it, I can't take it. No, I can't deal with all this drama. Why they hating, why they hating? I guess we counting up these numbers. I'm in my own lane, headed to another summer. I'm in my own lane, headed to another summer. I'm in my own lane, headed to another summer.
most of my niggas. Before the money, I was close with most of my niggas. Stuck with a struggle like success ditched me. No help in hand, I guess it must have missed me. Pops won now, but I didn't miss him. Never heard the story, learned to forgive him. See where I'm from? You gotta move on. That soft shit'll get you off quick, be a crouton. The streets will turn you to a mutant. So I chose the better present for my future. Little money coming in like a new lawn. Went from a couch to a futon. They hate me like I made it big. Man, I do this shit for my kids. Still they plotting on my downfall. I see them do the same shit to big. More money, more problems. Truest words I ever quote. Less money, even more problems. I felt the same way when I was broke. Smell like the Mona Lisa, sculpted with the hands of Jesus. Told me she missed me, only came to swipe the visa. Man's tried to warn me, but she gave me every reason. So I turned the other cheek and kept it breezy. Ran into an old buddy, getting info on the stain. Funny, he talking about the same bitch I'm fucking main. This combo will forever change a nigga. Come to find out she was plotting with the same nigga.
We gon' take some time to see. Yeah, exactly what it's supposed to be. You know it ain't much to me. Yeah, I gotta breathe. Get what you think you know. Just lay back and let it go. Listen to me.
I tried to bring them niggas with me, take over the city. Like they was deaf, they didn't hear me, they plotted and dissed me. I had dreams of racing Porsches and signing endorsements, but now I separate myself like marriage divorces. Tried to paint a picture, Picasso, but they can't see past that block like they was blindfold. But I don't blame them where I'm from, shit, it ain't no hope. Chicago, no Kevin Hart, shit, it ain't no joke. I do this music for my fans and my daughter too. BM had 2 other kids, I accept them too. Yeah, that's just what a real man do. Nowadays they judge you by your wage, not your act through. No honor roll, but I'm gifted. But like class, I wanna dismiss myself, but I know I'm that ticket to get rich shit, so I chill. My daughter need me for real, my niggas need me for real. Like I'm famished, I need that meal, hot like Choco on that grill. The more they show that you care, the more that they turn fake. Pressure on me, feeling like weights. Try my best not to suffocate, let me breathe.
We gon' take some time to see. Yeah, exactly what it's supposed to be. You know it ain't much to me. Yeah, I gotta breathe. Get what you think you know. Just lay back and let it go. Listen to me, please.
Top, her ass fat, pork chop, 2-piece in that porch box. Mount floors, post top, niggas blaze, but I'm scorching hot. My niggas hustle, they torch pots. Whip it up till it's hot rock. No cafes on 9 block. Dick down from mouth wide open. Chain bling, no sun seen. Them diamonds look like Ethiopians. Bitches on me, but I don't care. Money, no child care. Float nothing nice, but it sounds fair. Taking trips, no ground fare, but I'm always up like NASA engines. Half fuck like I'm master tripping. Your machine count, I'm straight credit. Sex and money, yeah, got a fetish. Them 6 is green, we call it lettuce. All up in my back. That bitch about that money. Put her brain up in my lap. Watch me educate this dummy. Came a long way from that basement floor. Money coming in, watch it overflow.
You never know when it's your time to go. So we gon' spend it like you never know.
Living like you never know. Ride like you never know. And we gon' party like you never know.
my button sauce. Bottles up, nozzled off. Bubble double, we forever false. Ballin' out like we never lost. Game over till the fame's over. Bang soldiers like we slain cola. Flame potent, I know you lames know this. I be taking over. Baking soda, collective Eddie, the whole team deli. Yeah, we ready, the whole team deli. Real estate, we got blocks to build. Loose lips to get your knock appeal. Move bricks till my pockets fill. Never slip or feel. The dealership got a membership. Whip flip, orange peel. Trap house, I pull a couch out when it's rats out. We pull the bats out, forever taking off. Never make it so, keep the pot filled. Can't take a loss. Massive change till my status change. Ask the rain till it's after pain. Monster made till my options change. Can't spend it all, profit brain.
Came a long way from that basement floor. Money coming in, watch it overflow.
Never knowing this your time to go.
No hope hopping, just coke chopping, that field popping. That's the topic. Shoes ostrich, cool profit. Dollar signs, that's J Smalls. Stack the money, it's J Tall. Hell yeah, I hate sports, but I sure had to go baseballs on my bitch bed. That's hard headed. Riding on them, no car credit. Sick gamer, no paramedic. Hard coded in an ambulance. Life's a movie, no cameraman. My turn your hoe to a co-star. I'm La Kosher Nostra. I compose like Mozart. I Humphrey, no Bogart. You pay for pussy, I play the pussy. Fuck Cupid, my cold heart. Fans watching, you ain't looking. Stack of stuff in this trap card and that trap pack like concerts. You foolish bastard. Who's the master? Now kiss the soul of my converse. Suck it good till it done squirt. Machiavelli, I bomb first. That kitchen funky, I'm stacking money.
Came a long way from that basement floor. Money coming in, watch it overflow.
Never knowing this your time to go. So we gon' spend it like you never know.
Living like you never know. Riding like you never know. And we gon' party like you never know. Keep spending like you never know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thanks, y'all, for joining. What's good, people? What's good? What's good, people? What's going on? I want to thank everybody for joining in. Let me get to the chat. Let me shout everybody out. We're gonna have a great show today. We're gonna see what's going on with this Halo thing, man. I got some information from a anonymous developer that posted on Reddit, right? And the Reddit was deleted. But what he said was copied over to Reset Era. So I grabbed that off Reset Era, and we're gonna see. You know what I'm saying? So let me get to the chat real quick. Let me shout everybody out, and we'll go from there. What we got? Quincy, what up? Kaz Miller, what up? Gen X 128, what's up? None of your business ain't none of your business. What's good? Greatness 84, thanks for showing up. Child of God, Alpha Will, Lansville, what's good? Max City, what's good? Jason, what's good? Let's see here. We got Ozzy, what's up? Let me see. Isaiah YT, what's good? NYC, what's up? Ernie, what's good? Who else? 22. Who else but who else? David Smyer, what's good? The Ruhan, what up? Germ Ski, what's good? Thanks everybody for showing up, man. Thank you. If you watching the stream and you haven't said nothing in the chat, I thank y'all for showing up too. Tay 248, what's good? What's good? We finna we finna get into this. I want to make this quick. I don't want to go a 3-hour podcast like I did yesterday, but Smoke 901, what's good? I want to thank all y'all for y'all support. Y'all show up for your boy. Y'all show up for your boy, and I want to thank y'all for that. Okay. So we're gonna get straight to it now. As we all know, yesterday it was announced that the two features for for Halo Infinite was were pretty much being delayed. They won't be there at launch. Okay? And they won't be there at launch, okay? Hanzo Beat was good. We now and that's co-op in Forge, okay? And when I mean co-op campaign and split screen. I thought it was just co-op campaign, online co-op campaign that was going to be missing at launch. I didn't know split screen was also meaning offline co-op is also going to be missing. So the whole co-op thing from offline to online is going to be missing, and that's huge because for some that part of Halo is big to them. Okay, and then we have Forge. I never got into Forge in terms of creating maps and map editors. I know a lot of people haven't, but I know it's a big community out there for people that do like Forge, and a lot of people are upset. Somebody told me on Twitter that co-op, I guess for them, in their opinion, was the pinnacle of Halo, and I disagreed. Multiplayer has always been the pinnacle of Halo. Multiplayer. I know a lot of people play co-op. Like I said, I play my Halo game solo and I do a co-op. Now co-op is a big feature, but I never thought that the co-op campaign of Halo superseded the multiplayer aspect of Halo. Okay? So, and so you got a lot of people out there in the Xbox community that are pushing back against this, that are saying delay the game, that are disappointed in this, including myself. And then you got the fake outrage out there of people who never played a Halo game, people who don't intend to play a Halo game out there. Hold on. Let me see something. So you got people out there that don't play Halo, never played a Halo, never vested in Xbox system out there with fake outrage. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna get to it because what this anonymous developer had to say kind of blew my mind, and it kind of like, man, like this is it kind of made it seem things was worse than what we originally know. So whether this is true or not, we'll read it together, and then we'll come together and say, "Oh, this probably was wrote by a fanboy or somebody who don't like Halo or Xbox," or y'all can make the decision to see if this actually has some validity to it. Okay, so we gonna get started. Like I said, shout out to everybody watching. Hit the like button, hit the share button. Tweet this out. I want to do a quick show. You know, the Bears come on at 12 o'clock. You know, I love my football. So let's go. So I'm gonna turn my what's the name on? All right. This is the article here. If you can't see it, don't worry about it because I'm gonna be reading it out. Okay. I know it's small. Let me do this here. All right. And it starts off right. It says obvious throwaway account. So this anonymous developer is saying he just created a throwaway account just to put this information out here, just to let us know what's going on behind the scene and why things are the way they are and what state Halo Infinite is in. Now I took this screenshot from Reset Era because the original post that was made on Reddit got deleted. So he say obvious throwaway account. I'm not going to say my name, but I've worked in 343 Industries for the better part of 2 years. 2 years. Specifically on the campaign components of Halo Infinite. I mostly worked on scripting. If you know anything about this project and want to verify it, this should help. Sparrow, James, Lucky Break. So I guess those are code names inside of 343 for specific things that correlates to the Halo Infinite project. And so I guess he's putting out them code names to confirm to people to whoever had worked on 343 or whoever works at 343 that I am legit and I know what I'm talking about. Now, Sparrow, James, Lucky Break, I don't know what those code names are attributed to in terms of the Halo Infinite project, but someone who has worked on Halo Infinite or worked for 343 might know and might could confirm this to be valid. But I don't think they're gonna come out. And the post was immediately deleted. Okay. Yeah, we almost at 1,000. Jimmy, tell them to hit the subscribe button. We on our way. Okay, so he started off by saying this. He said, a lot of people are frustrated with the announcement. So I thought I'd shed some light on it because we are insanely frustrated internally too. He said, not because the delay happened, not at all, but because we wanted to tell you earlier. The team has been pushing not just delays to forge. I'm sorry. He said, let me read that again. The team has been pushing not just delays to Forge and Co-op, but campaign in general. So he's saying the internal team wants to not only delay Forge and Co-op, they want to delay the campaign too. Okay? He said, I can see multiplayer making release date in a great state with basically all of the main modes plus a couple of grab bag goodies, including some original stuff we're cooking up. He say a different variant of infection with original resources in a severely updated invasion mode with new maps. However, campaign is under massive strain, right? He says campaign is under massive strain, right? He goes on to say this. He say, I'll be blunt. We knew Chris was leaving a good while before it happened. If you know Chris is Chris Lee. He was the lead project lead over Halo Infinite. So prior to Joseph Staten coming in, the direction that Halo was going in was based on the direction that Chris Lee had for Halo Infinite. Okay, so a lot of this stuff of what we going through, what Halo Infinite is going through, is based on a lot of the decisions that Chris Lee made prior to him leaving. But they already knew he was going to get outed, okay? He said, and the campaign component has aggressively course-corrected in his absence. So basically he's saying, since Chris left and they brought in Joseph Staten, that everything kind of came together. So I'm guessing prior to that, it was some kind of indecisions amongst everybody in terms of the direction of the campaign, right? He says there were small changes to the multiplayer too under Joseph Staten. Now Joseph Staten was with Bungie with the original Halo CE. I'm talking about the original Halo on the OG Xbox. He was there Halo 1, Halo 2, and Halo 3, and I think he was there for Halo Reach as well. Okay? So he said, but MP was more. Okay, let me read that again. There were small changes to the MP2 under Joseph. But the MP was more Pierre's baby. I don't know who Pierre is. I guess he's the multiplayer lead in Halo Infinite than anything. And all that happened, there were small changes to the direction of gun balance and general gameplay. He goes on to say, but the campaign, that went through a massive overhaul. Not just in the writing, which got trimmed down and fed severely. Less is more, and the player should always understand what the fuck is going on, were often repeated guidelines. But more importantly, in structure, okay? Originally, it was a lot more Tom Clancy Wildlands, almost Just Cause at times. The core of the experience was Halo gameplay-wise, but there were a lot of clear X structures in any order to unlock the next campaign mission, and Joseph really hated that. Wow, this is crazy. So he was saying that Chris Lee direction with his version of Halo Infinite campaign was Tom Clancy Wildland and almost Just Cause at times. And we know those are two open world games. And we know with Tom Clancy Wildland and Just Cause, you don't necessarily have to follow a set path. You can kind of attack whatever objective you want at that moment. You can go across the map if you want it. Let me ask y'all before I continue, would y'all have liked a Halo Infinite campaign that had kind of a Tom Clancy Wildland or Just Cause objective like feel to it? Is that something that y'all would have liked that kind of could have freshened up Halo? Because based on this reading, it's saying Joseph came in and was like, "No, what are we doing here?" But I know at that time that that Wildland approach and that Just Cause that was kind of popular among shooters, and it's still kind of right now. You know what I'm saying? It's still kind of right now. So we're gonna keep going. Just let me know. Yeah, I feel the same way. Smoking Tay, Hanzo, I feel the same way. I think like, come on now, you're striding far beyond what Halo is right now. You're trying to prevent Halo. You're trying to make Halo not Halo in terms of the campaign aspect, right? You're trying to make Halo. Yeah. I agree with y'all. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. All right, let me clear my thought. Okay, so he said Joseph really hated that, and people in the chat can agree that they hated it too. So we're gonna keep going. He said he wanted to integrate more of a Halo formula similar to Halo, the level in CE, which is the original Halo. And if you looked at when they showed Halo, the campaign, even with the Craig issue, it reminded us of that whole old Halo when you first get out the drop shit and the world just open up to you. So he said he wanted to integrate more of a Halo formula, similar to Halo in CE, okay, where you save the Marines. It's more of a, you can spend time doing all this stuff in a lot of mini events in each structure, or you can rush straight to the objective, okay? There was a lot of arguing over this direction, since many people within the team felt their work could be just rushed through without care. And there were a lot of issues with dynamic triggers, says the player triggering the next campaign event before they were done with all the optional stuff in the area. Okay, so he switched it up, right? He made it where it seems like he gave you more choices. It says it's more of a, you can spend time doing all this stuff. Like you can spend time doing all these objectives and stuff and these mini events in each structure, or you can just rush straight to the objective. He said there was a lot of arguing over this directions, since many people within the team felt their work could be just rushed through without care. So there was some pushback from this. You probably had some developers that worked hard on what Chris Lee's version of Halo Infinite was. And you got Jason Staten just coming in and saying, hey, I don't like this direction. We're going to change it up. And now you got these developers like, man, I just put in all this work, creating all these triggers, these objectives, these instructions, and things like that. And now you mean to tell me you're coming in to change all of that after I put in all that work? Meaning more than likely, a lot of this work I just created won't be seen by the general public. Okay, that's crazy. So he said, let me see here. Let me catch up. Within felt their work could be just rushed through without care, and there was a lot of issues with dynamic triggers. Say the player triggering the next campaign event before they were done with all the optional stuff in the area. So I'm basically saying that a player will be able to move on to the next event without completing every objective in that area. He said the map was not designed for it, with basically these big forerunner gates gating off a lot of sections at the moment to account for campaign stages. It's a little strange. It wouldn't fit the promise of this being the biggest campaign ever either, since players could reasonably rush through it in a few hours if they wanted to. Okay, so this is great insight on the direction of the campaign that they was kind of squabbling over. You know, you have people who had put in all this work to kind of fulfill Chris' vision, And then Joseph comes in with a whole new vision saying, look, we're not going to do this. We're not going to do this. We're going to take some of this stuff out. It's not going to be so time Clancy. We're going to take it back to the Halo. And you got probably developers that was probably been working on this game like, well, for the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, that this new guy is coming in saying, look, all that shit you worked over the last couple of years, we might not use. It doesn't fit my vision or where I'm trying to take Halo to get this campaign where it needs to be and ready for launch. So he stated that we achieved some balance, right? He said we achieved some balance by basically making the campaign much more connected dots, okay? With the objectives being obligatory to a degree. So he was saying they changed it to where a person couldn't just go on to the campaign event. Hold on. Okay, my bad. So what he's saying is that he say we'll achieve some balance by basically making the campaign much more connected dots, with the objectives being obligatory to a degree, with an optional side structure here and there, and naturally leading the player through a few key encounters before each stage. So basically, what they saying that is that they changed it. You know, they changed it. They saying, look, you're going to have to complete some of these objectives before you move on to the next campaign. And maybe those objectives can be certain encounters that you'll have to get through certain encounters before you can move on to the next campaign event, okay? He said power weapons are rare in campaign, but you can find them in a lot of these little side enclaves with a decent max ammo pool to make it count. So there are some incentives there too, plus some new runner vehicles. So my guess is that they hidden some rare power weapons in these certain areas with objectives. So it kind of makes you put you in a space to you want to search. That you don't just want to go on to the campaign event. You want to look around these areas for certain rare weapons that might exist before moving on to the campaign event. And so that'll kind of prevent gamers from certain gamers from just rushing through the objectives or rushing through that content that the developers work so hard for and want you to kind of, not rush through and sit around and look at, I guess, and whatever. Some people might still rush through it, through the beating, okay? He say, okay, so, but you can find them in a lot of these little side enclaves with a decent max ammo pool to make it count. So there's some incentives there too, plus some new Forerunner vehicles. He say, the game started to take this shape properly in February this year. He say, although the concept started last year, you can imagine people were a little stretched thin, but as long as it was just reshuffling content, it was fine. I expect the campaign will be well received, even if some of the side areas will probably be seen as not worth the effort. But people will go for it because Halo. The fun is going after the stuff. Some stuff will be left on the cutting room floor due to release date, but we'll make it. Okay? So he's saying that some of this stuff might get, some of these side missions and things like that will be cut. But he said some gamers might think these side missions are not worth the effort, but looking for these rare items or weapons and things like that will make it fun. Now, what these rare weapons are, we don't know. And so he said, campaign had a lot of cut content and needed massive reworks to work. After we switched hard off Chris and took in Joseph's direction for the game. But it mostly uses assets and work we had in 2020. Just shuffled around. So they had to reshuffle some content. Not so much redesign stuff. That's good news. that they had to shuffle content, but they didn't have to redesign everything. Okay, from my understanding. Okay, but here's to what everything care about. All right, here's to what everything what we care about. He say, but now what you care about first, Forge. Forge is just untenable, and Microsoft always knew it wouldn't be ready for this release day. Wow, this is wow. So he's saying Microsoft knew that Forge wouldn't be ready for this release date. If ever. He's saying if ever, if it will ever be ready. He said, and I doubt it'll come in 6 months either. So he's saying that Forge, he doubted Forge come either 3 months or even 6 months after Halo Infinite is released. That's I don't know. That's why I'm gonna leave it up to y'all to determine the validity of all this. Okay. He said the reality is Forge isn't just a cute map editor anymore. Not after Halo 5, and we can't release anything that isn't up to snuff to the quality of that game's Forge, which took more effort than anyone realizes. Infinite's Forge will not only have every feature Fives had, but a lot of extra resources based on past games and custom game functionality. There's also some grumblings about Forge being released with the game spoiling a few new enemy reveals. But I doubt this is a main concern in any case. I wouldn't be surprised if Forge came 8 months or even a year after initial release. The team is overworked, pushed hard, and tired. What? What? Now, like I said, we don't know the validity of this. But if we don't get Forge within the next 6 months after Halo Infinite release, because we know co-op is coming within the next 3 months, right? If we don't get it within the next 6 months after, then it could be some validity to this. I'll let you all decide whether y'all believe this or not. I'm just here to provide the information. Okay? All right, for co-op in campaign, he goes on to say, the problem is much simpler. To put it bluntly, nobody thought of how it worked. The open world and several different objectives spread around the map that can be completed in any order mean that a bunch of solutions were explored for how this will work in 4-player co-op. The first and obvious was shackling players together. But even in internal playtesting, this was just not fun and considered incredibly limiting. The idea to free players to go off and do their own stuff was then proposed, which was a great idea and very welcome, if not for a key few things. The first was network, and the second and more important was checkpoints. Now, let me switch to another screenshot, okay? So, if anybody played the first Halo, right? All right, I'm gonna put this up here, all right? And you might can't see it, but I'm gonna read it to you, and I'll post these on on Twitter so you guys can kind of read it for yourself. Okay, so if you guys ever, let me turn this on because I'm getting hot. Okay, if you guys ever played the first Halo in co-op, what happened was whenever one player got further along, it'll automatically move the second player that's playing co-op with them. It'll automatically put them where that first player is. So if the second player is lagging behind and the first player is up in the map, it'll automatically move it automatically shackled that player to that player and move him where the first player at. That's how me and my brother beat Halo on Legendary. That's how we beat it on Legendary. Because the last map of Halo, you had to fight all these type of enemies, right? You had to fight all of them. The Flood, and the elites, the grunts. You had to fight all of them at the same damn time. And there was too many enemies to sit on each map, going through that particular map, and fight. So my brother used to run ahead, because my brother was cold in Halo. That's how I learned to play Halo, my older brother. And he put me on in Halo. So he was cold. So he'll run up in the map, and I just keep jumping and peering to where he's at. And that's how we got through the map quicker. And then when we got to the end of the board, we made sure we took a Warhog for that last level. Because if you don't take a Warhog, you'll have to run through like thousands of enemies to get to the end of the game. So my brother will force the Warhog into the what's the name and drive through the tunnels. And once we got to the part where for that long stretch you was just seeing a sea of enemies, we drove the Warhog through all that to get to the end of the game. But you had to be cold driving the Warhog. You had to be pretty dope with the Warhog. And so they thought of that, but I guess the way the campaign is structured now, given that it's semi-open world, that type of shackling wouldn't fit well in the world, okay? And so he goes on to say, to be blunt, it's buggy. He say it's buggy as hell, and then some. He say for the first while, respawn worked the same as old games. Wait for teammates to be safe and come back to life near them. But this caused a lot of painful issues when players were far apart and was really buggy on the code, so we didn't like it. So I see that a lot now in games, even like The Ascent, and in other games where if you die and your co-op player is still fighting enemies, it'll wait before it brings you into the game. It'll wait till that player that's still in the game is safe or the enemies are killed before it throw you back into the fray. And it seems like this is what they tried. This is what they tried with Halo, but they were saying it didn't really fit the game style and that it was really buggy. He goes on to say, we explored a respawn station idea, but it was much too limited. So then we proposed fixed respawn points around the map. Hold on. Let me make sure again. But it was much too limiting. So then we proposed fixed respawn points around the map, a ways away from fighting locations. But that was both boring. Players had to walk and drive back to the fight, and also made it so it was really hard for the entire team to get wiped, since it'd be a constant conga of guys running from respawn. Around March, we decided to swing back to the original respawn method, and the bugs have been constant. So they went back to their original idea. Now, this particular respawn method I know of, because if you play Outriders, you got spawned away from the action or away from the players you was playing with, and you had to work your way back. You had to work your way back through Outriders. Also, Outriders had it where I don't think Outriders spawns you. Also, when your players was in, if you was in a locked area where you was fighting bosses, I think it spawns you into that into the enemy. If I'm not mistaken, I ain't playing Outriders in a minute. I beat it, but I ain't playing in a minute. And I think also didn't spawn you in if the players you was playing with was under enemy fight, they wouldn't spawn you in until you cleared it up. Yeah. Hey, I think Chris put Infinite in this position that it's in now, and Joseph had to come in and kind of clean this shit up. He say, okay, he say what's also very buggy is checkpoint setting. It's difficult if 4 players in 4 different locations decide to have separate fights to then decide when to set a checkpoint. That's true. So if you in that event area that they was telling you about earlier, that he was telling you about earlier, where they kind of came to a common ground where they were saying that, okay, to prevent players from just rushing past these events and not do them and go straight to the campaign event, we're going to put these objectives in there and these fights that they have to complete in order to trigger the next campaign event. And so what he's saying is that, okay, if we're going to do it that way, what if we what if we have 4 people in 4 different locations fighting these enemies at the same time? When does the checkpoint trigger? Does it trigger when the first player get through, the second 3, the 4th player get through, or when all 4 players get done with their with wiping out the enemies? So it looked like it's going under a bit of issues. I didn't know the issues was this bad. He say, if we wait until all 4 are safe, that's ridiculous and can lead to long stretches of time with no safe checkpoints location. If we set it when one is safe, the checkpoint can be very harsh on their teammates. You can probably see the problem here. This system wasn't that well thought out. The current system we have is that checkpoints are set when one team member, the host, is decisively safe and everyone else is at least somewhat safe, with a little bit of invulnerability slack given to other players on respawn. So now they give it a little. Wow, this is crazy. So they're saying that it's going to go off. It's going to be based on the host, right? When the host completes, it's killing of the objective in terms of wiping the enemies out. Even if the other 3 teammates are still in battle, if they are somewhat wiped out all of their enemies, they're gonna get a boost in health and damage. Basically, that's what I'm seeing. Safe with a little bit of invulnerability slack given to other players to get on the respawn. So if they die and come in, they come in with like a boosted health or a boosted defense for that period of time to finish wiping out the rest of whatever enemies that they have. But the checkpoint would have been completed, though, at that time if the host had already, wiped out his enemies. Under the new respawn method, the occasions where all 4 get wiped separately are at least somewhat rare. But we do see the issues with this system. What? Okay, now he say between these two, campaign co-op is a mess and downright unplayable. But there's no way in hell we're going to be allowed to delay the launch by the powers that be. Delaying the campaign together was severely considered with a multiplayer only launch, but the suits told us a straight no. Now we did hear about the rumors of Halo launching with multiplayer only, given that multiplayer will be free. So we did hear that. It should be periodic auto checkpoints based on the host safety. Okay. All right, so I'm finna finish this out because we don't have them. This article giving me a headache. This shit's about to be bad. Hey, I'm just here to read out. Like I said, I will post this on Twitter. If how the validity of this article will be determined by you all. I'm not saying this is true or not. I'm just giving out the information. You guys will determine if there's any validity to this, if y'all believe this wasn't going. The article is very detailed and very specific about certain things for it to be written about by anyone. But we'll see. I'll let you all determine that, okay? Okay, let me go back. You say, between these two, campaign co-op is a mess and downright unplayable. But there's no way in hell we're going to be allowed to delay the launch by the powers that be. Delaying the campaign altogether was severely considered with a multiplayer only launch. But the suits told us straight no, meaning Microsoft executives or maybe the head of of 343 Studio, Bonnie Ross, just straight out told them no. The game will ship with a paid campaign, come hell or high water, and we can pay it back over time. At the very least, I can guarantee that while there is some crunch going on, it's far from the most inhuman I've seen working in the industry, and a far cry from something like CDPR's Cyberpunk. Morale is high. Even after this, we think this is going to be a great game, but I do wish we could cook the campaign a little longer. Hope you guys have a good one, and remember that she always believes in you. Okay, so that's it. That's it. That is what the guy posted on Reddit. It was copied to reset error. The post on Reddit was deleted. Now, I want to know from you all in the chat, do y'all believe any of that? If what I just read, is there any validity to what the supposedly anonymous dev just wrote? I want to get y'all opinions from the chat. Do y'all believe that? Is Halo campaign in trouble? Do it need to be delayed? Would you be mad if the campaign is delayed, or even if Halo is delayed? Period. Would you accept the free multiplayer right now, and would you want the campaign to be delayed if it's not where it needs to be right now? Okay, let me see here. Let me go to the chat. It should be periodic auto checkpoints based on the whole safety. This article giving me a headache. This shit was about to be bad. Okay. So much for letting devs to do whatever they want and for what best for, and what's best for games. Okay. Chris Lee is responsible for what's going on. I agree with that. Post-up Halo was famous for single player, and that's why it was Game of the Year in 2002. So what's the problem? These are ponies at their best about. Okay. What's good, Post? What's good, Cold as Ice? I believe it. He went in depth. I believe it too. Tay. It's too in depth and too specific in terms of what's going on internally. Now, if it is fake, somebody cold as hell. Somebody cold. If it's fake, somebody got a very great imagination to sit and write up some shit like this. OG Proficient say, I will be cool with a delay on the campaign. The Blue Wave say campaign is fine. Hanzo B say release multiplayer, delay everything else. Tay Tuning 48 say multiplayer should drop and campaign in general should drop after. Enzo say it's legit, but don't delay the game. Germ say he believes it. And shout out to my brother Kratos. I hope they delay because Metacritic won't be kind to a fragmented game. Give the devs all the time they need. Metacritic ain't never too kind to Xbox games, period. So laughing is the cure say sounds like this is where the 5 years went. Beats Games Life Zim said, I don't understand why they just wouldn't set objectives one at a time instead of having multiple objectives available at once, or just allow hosts to trigger objectives. True. I guess this, you know what? I guess if it's reshuffling the content, given that Chris Lee had this open world, well semi-open world type Tom Clancy Wildland type style to the games, and you have objectives everywhere and stuff like that. With 4 players spread out, I don't know, man. I don't know. Shout out to Freddie Rain. What are we doing here? We'll see. But it looks like that's what they're doing, Beats. That the host is going to trigger the objectives, from what I was reading. Iron Mike said it's not really that detailed. Neverland, delay your post. Let them release it as a full package and by itself so it won't have to go up against COD and Battlefield. That's a good point. COD and COD is out of out of the three biggest shooters that's releasing this year, Halo, COD, and Battlefield. COD is the most complete right now. And it's crazy. We haven't heard anything from that game up until now. It's August. We're at the end of August, pretty much. And it was our first time seeing a trailer of the game and it being announced with a release date. That's like 2 months away. That's, and it's the most complete game right now. Battlefield is only launching with multiplayer, and Halo is launching with campaign and MP. But co-op that everybody love is not gonna be there. Neverland say, let me see here. Freddie, don't listen to Kratos about no damn Metacritic. That funny could probably own stock in it. Zim, in the division, only the host can start missions. Okay? Neverland, give it its own spotlight. Okay? And let's see here. Iron Mike, they didn't say anything that wouldn't be an issue in most open world co-op games. True, Iron Mike. So Iron Mike, I ask you, do you believe it? Given what I just read, I will put this on Twitter for you all to read it yourself. Matter of fact, I'm finna make that tweet now. Let me see here. Let me see. Let me close that out. Let me close this out. Let me close this out. And let me close that out. All right, let me close this out. All right. So I'm going to post this on Twitter. You guys can discuss this if you want. Let me see here. All right. And that way you guys can kind of dissect it yourself. Look. All right. I just kind of gave you all what I got from what I was reading. If you feel I was reading it wrong, yes, I am. If you feel as though I was reading it wrong, or I wasn't comprehending, you need the keys?
No, I wanted to tell you to come with me at 1 o'clock. I mean, this man said meet him at 1 o'clock to fix the truck.
All right, so maybe y'all feel as though I wasn't reading it right, or wasn't comprehending it right. That's cool. That's why I put out the information to get y'all opinion, y'all perspective on it. Because y'all might take something away from it that I didn't see. Or y'all can be able to explain to me and say, hey, Post, you got that wrong, or this is what it really meant. I don't know everything. I don't claim to know everything. That's why I put this out here to you guys. In some ways I educate you all can educate me. Knowledge is to know the world. I'm always willing to learn, player. I'm always willing to learn. So if you guys take something away from this and say, Post, this section where you broke down this, it actually meant this, then educate me, brother. Educate me. I'm not a game developer. I don't script, I don't design. Okay? Okay, hold on. Give me just a second. Okay, hold on. Let me read it. Let me post these on Twitter. And let me go to the screenshots. Because Kratos in there cutting up already. Let's see. Oh, sorry. Okay. All right. So I just posted the screenshots on Twitter. So it could be, okay. Nice. I like that perspective, Anya Mike. I like that perspective. You say, look, it's really not too in depth, and it really didn't display any issues that any other co-op game hasn't already had. So I like that perspective. I like that perspective. Okay, so let's see. Laughing is secure. COD should be the most complete. Laugh out loud. It's the same game, same engine for years. No cap. It does look good. All right. And then H2O Gotti, this man doing a podcast inside a laundry basket. This wild as hell. Okay, HCO, I see you are a hater. This is not a laundry better. It's basket. First of all, it's called a room a cutoff. It's, you cut off the room with it. You cut off the room with it. But even my haters got to show up to my show. So Ozzy, don't delete it, or else these ponies gonna talk about it on Twitter all year. On your mic, they have so many games that solve the checkpoint issue. No way they wouldn't use a method that works. That's true. That's true. Like I was saying, Outriders, the Ascent allow you to, and I don't know, the Ascent, when playing the Ascent, which is 4-player co-op, I could be on one part of the map. All 4 different players can be on different parts of the map, fighting different battles, right? Fighting different battles. So, for example, it was me, Noah, and Dre, and I think somebody else. We was playing the Ascent, right, on 4-player co-op, right? I was on a different part of the map at a whole different objective, or well, on a part of the map fighting enemies I shouldn't have been. And then you had Dre and the other guy, they was somewhere on the other map fighting enemies, right? Noah was completing the objective. He was on another part of the map completing the objective, right? And when he completed it by himself, even though we was in the game doing our own thing, it said mission complete. So while I'm fighting these other enemies on a different part of the map, while Dre and the other guy is on a different part of the map doing something, Noah by himself completed the objective without us, and then it didn't interfere. It didn't interfere with us fighting the other enemies or with us doing whatever we was doing on the map. Mission complete popped up on the screen. The mission was complete. We all regrouped, found out where each other was, and then we all went on to the next mission. That wasn't supposed to work like that, but Noah can seem to run ahead of you and leave you behind when he played, because he be trying to get through these games fast as hell and get all the achievements. But I didn't see the Ascent having any issues with that. Noah was able to complete the objective with or without us. We was able to roam to go anywhere on the map without being limited because we was playing co-op. But maybe that's because that's a smaller indie game. I don't know. How would that type of checkpoint instructions and things like that, or objective settings, impact a big game like Halo? Let me see. All right, and then Forge is not important. God is okay. Let me see here. Let me finish reading. Okay. All right. And then Blue Wave. Forge is not important. COD is a dumpster fire. Co-op campaign is for the birds. Battlefield campaign. Laughing is secure. Battlefield campaigns are trash, but I do enjoy the multiplayer. Pre-order day 1. Shout out to my bro Kratos. Kratos, how does a company treat their flagship game like this? I don't know what they should do at this point. If that is true, then I don't know. But this is what I'm about to do. I got a lot of stuff going on in the background right now, and I appreciate y'all for sticking with me with all this noise in the background. But what I'll do is I'm going to cut it here, and then I'm gonna create a Spaces on Twitter today, and we're gonna talk about this. What we got here, what I read on this podcast, and the tweet I made on Twitter. We're going to talk about this on Spaces so I can get you all's perspective. Not in the chat, but I can hear what you all going to say, okay? Now you humble. Look at H2O. God, you a hater, brother. You is a hater, but I thank you for showing up, brother. Because no matter what you come here to say, you're still contributing to the show, my player. No matter what you say, if it's negative or positive, by you being in the chat and watching this stream, you're helping me out, brother. So you can hate and help at the same time, my brother. You can hate and help at the same time, my brother. You can hate and help at the same time, brother. Nobody's perfect, brother. But I will. What's good, Anthony? But this is what I will say. We will create a space on Twitter, and this will be the topic of discussion. Y'all can tell me whether y'all believe it or not. Y'all can read it. I posted the screenshots on Twitter, so you guys can read it and kind of summarize it and break down what this means to you all, and then we'll go from there. You think that? Facts. So I got a lot of stuff going on in the background, as y'all can see, but I really wanted to get this out. So yeah, I will catch y'all on Twitter in a minute. Probably know the Bears game finna come on, so it'll be after the Bears game. After the Bears game, okay? After the Bears game, we'll do the spaces after the Bears game. I love football. Y'all ain't interrupting my football, but we'll do the spaces after the football. So I thank y'all for showing up, man. Good morning to everyone. Thank y'all for y'all continued support of the channel. Like I always say, it only takes a little to gain a lot, and we're almost at 1,000 subscribers. I couldn't have done this without y'all. So I appreciate y'all, and we're gonna continue this conversation on Spaces. I love y'all. Peace and